Hello, welcome back to March's Planner Mess. I'm giving you a weekly update on how things are going with my current planning system. So, for any of you that have been watching along, you know that my everyday carry, which was a Sterling Ink N2 vertical, I stopped using that at the end of March because I'd been sick and it got overwhelming. And so just to kind of try and reset the psychology of my brain, I picked up this partially used Hobonichi Techo original and used that for the month of April, which worked quite well. And I'm pretty happy with it. And you can see I had fun. I had a lot of space, so I had fun decorating with stickers. It's not cute. It's not pretty. It's kind of messy, but it was a good place to kind of brain dump, which was something that was I was lacking in my Sterling Ink because it was such a small planning space, which was nice because it was portable. But anyway, I used this and I really liked it. And I had honestly planned to use it all the way through the second quarter, all the way to the end of June, just because I had kind of figured out I wanted more space in my Sterling Ink. And if I gave myself a page a day and didn't start it until July, that I'd be able to see it through to the end of the year. So that was kind of my overall master plan. Well, I have given an update since then, and that is I have been trying out a couple other planner systems just to kind of get a sense of if I like them, if they're a possibility contender to work for me. And so the one that I started the middle of last week, which was the beginning of May, was the Take a Note planner system. And so I have worked on that. I finished the week with that, and I'm starting this week in it. And I just wanted to give you a little update of how that's going. Now, I still want to kind of decorate the inside of this cover because this is just such a pretty green, and I apologize. This is awkward with one hand. Lovely sage green. And I like how hard this is. It's very similar to the thickness of a Hobonichi Techo, which Sterling Ink unfortunately does not have a heavy duty cover. So that is something that I kind of have missed. Probably my biggest criticism of Sterling Ink, honestly. They do a great job. So this one I had liked because it had a different layout than anything else that I had seen. And when I did my review of it, I was complaining about how small these monthly pages are. And just to give you a quick comparison, here is the same size in Hobonichi. And you can see they're much, much, much bigger squares. But all that to say, when I moved in here, I toyed with the idea of whiting it out and making them bigger. And I just thought, well, let's just see. And guys, it fits. It all fits. If I have more stuff to fit in that space than I can write, then I probably have too many things going on that day. I think that's where I'm at. I'm a little burnt out with all my volunteering that I'm doing. So anyway, the monthly looks great. I did both. I basically did the rest of the year. I don't have much for third and fourth quarter other than a couple doctor's appointments. So I had some stuff for June, some mostly doctor's appointments and some trips we're going to do. And then I really didn't have anything in there for July. Oh, I need to put VBS in because that is, I think it's this week here. I need to put that in as the schedule starts to fill up with new things. I'm not sure job-wise what I'm going to be doing. I have a possible teaching job coming up, and that would involve a lot of change in my life. So yeah, I've just kept my schedule as open as possible for the rest of the year because who knows what's happening. So, and then they give you a couple months, I think 1, 2, and 3. Yep. So yeah, I got all the things transferred over. Should I just, go rogue and stay with this for the rest of the year? But what I love about this is that they give you 2 page spreads for each week. It's an odd setup. I don't know of anybody else that does this. The only thing I've seen that's somewhat similar is the Jibun Techo has a daily planner, which unfortunately I can't get my hands on because I would love to. And it's a daily, so it's 1 page a day, but they have this setup where it's like your hours on this side, and then your like tasks or whatever on this side. And I really kind of like that in a B6 Slim. Could work for me. If I could get a hold of that right now, I would be like, that's what I'm using for May. But anyway, I digress. So I really like this. And my worry was, this just has my appointments. Where am I going to put my to-dos? And so that was kind of the concern. So let me show you what I have done. This is this week. So as you can see, if we get up close here, there's a line that goes down the middle of each section. I don't know if you can see right there. It goes all the way down. Maybe I'll get to one that has nothing in it. So you see the line? And so I was like, well, maybe I can fit my to-do or my appointments on this side and to-dos on this side. And so that is exactly what I've done. As you can see, it fits. It fits quite well. And so, yeah. And then they give you, this is the weekly section, which was what I kind of was scoffing at because it's like, are you kidding me? That's so tiny. Let's see if I can find an empty one. Here we go. So like they give you this section. I thought, well, I could maybe write meals there, but I already have a meal planner set up. Like I didn't really have a use for it. So what I've decided to do, since I didn't have a good use for it, and since I have been struggling to stay consistent with any of my trackers this year, like I thought I was going to start out strong and do great, and I've sucked. It just hasn't been, and I love taking up data, but this just hasn't worked for me. And I kind of moved my my journaling time to right after my worship time in the morning, so I could do my my mood tracker then, because that was something that was always in my worship journal, my mood tracker. I didn't necessarily want to keep it there, but I had gotten in a habit over the last couple of years to track it at that time of day. So I tried that and I still was struggling because it wasn't in the same book. I think that was part of the problem. So this has been my solution, is I've got a mood tracker. So this little column here, it's like two squares wide. I set that up to put my weather in because I do like having my weather there. And then I'm going to move this out of the way for right now. So there's a place for mood, and then there's a place for if I do weights or cardio. So I have this little sticker, this little post-it that I can move, and it's lined up. So these are the things I track. Am I feeling happy, content, productive, tired, blah, annoyed, anxious, sick, sad? I may have more things that I'm tracking. I didn't actually compare it with my other one, but it just worked out well. To track those things, I think those are kind of the most important things. So what I do below is kind of a, high, low, or it doesn't even make it on the scale tracker. And then I can just kind of keep sliding this down. So I did, that was, yes, that was today. Today is Monday. Wow. And so tomorrow, when I get in this book, I was like, oh, I can do that. I'm hoping that having it here will make it something I'll keep up with. I just like to look through and see how that's been for me. But anyway, so as you can, let's see, I started this the 1st of May. So let's see. So this was my first day. I'm going to just pull that sticky note out because that's for something else. But as you can see, I was able to get my to-dos in there, get my schedule in there, check things off. And then these stickers I put in today, actually, just because I'm trying to fill in the blank space that's there. And I love these washi stickers. I've got them off of Amazon, and they're very nice. And so, yeah, I'm just filling up the space with stickers if anything's empty. And it really has been plenty of space. I feel like these columns are about the width of what was in my N2 vertical, my Sterling ink, because there's some space in between. And the Sterling ink is the N2 vertical is a little narrower than an A6 planner. Let's see if we can get this more squared up. So this was last week, and this is what I used it for. And since I was starting the 1st of May, I actually had a catering job to do. And so I kind of went back here and just made my menus out here, my shopping list out here. And so I could just take this into the store and shop, which was nice because it was right in here. Now, had this had planner stuff, I would have done what I did today, which was I had a teaching assignment that I was going to do with my it's going to be 3rd through 8th grade art class. And so there was a YouTube video I wanted to refresh myself on how to create the project. So I went through, made my list of supplies and made my directions list and stuck that on a page that I had already used, which ended up being here. So I'll put that back now. But yeah, that's these little Post-it notes. They're just, look at that, just slightly hanging over the edge. Love Post-it brand. It's the best. 3M makes the best sticky, reusable sticky. So here is what my initial thought was of what I was going to use this space for, was just kind of like a list of the things I had going on for the day. But I like using it as a mood tracker better because I don't need that here. It's just redundant. So I am happy with this. I'm curious. I'm going to use it the rest of the month unless for some reason it drives me crazy, which so far it's got the space I need. It's reminding me of my N2 vertical, which I love so much. So we'll see. And that's the rest of the week. And so you can see, for those of you that have been watching all along, in my N2 vertical, I was using these little Post-it notes. These are like the recurrent tasks that happen on certain days. So those fit in here just fine. And when I write them down on my list to do, I can move this to the next Thursday or Sunday or whatever. So that's working. And they're not all piled up on top of each other. That was one problem with my N2, was because the columns are so narrow, I couldn't stick them in my weekly section. I had to put them in the to-do daily kind of section, and then they were all kind of stacked on top of each other, and it was a little cramped. The space was just a little cramped in there for the layout that was going to work well for me. So this has been refreshing. Now, because I have all of this here, all my to-dos and my appointments in one section, instead of having to flip to multiple parts of the book, I just have daily and monthly really to deal with. So that's kind of nice. Now there is yearly and quarterly sections, which I have made zero use of just because I don't have any long-term plan to be in this unless I just love it. This is what they give you for yearly. Just 2 little boxes for each day, so you could track 2 things for the whole year. And then here's your quarterly section where you could track more than that. Again, I failed with trackers this year, so I'm just not even bothering, especially with the planner jumping I'm doing during second quarter. I just don't see the point in trying to establish something in a system that I am planning to abandon. So there's those sections, should I choose to use this another year. But yeah, I am liking this way more than I thought. And when I reviewed this, you'll remember, I just hated this. I'm like, it's a small planner. Why did you make it so small? And do I wish it was bigger? Absolutely. But I know what it's like to white out and repurpose a space like I did in here when I gave myself some weekly pages. They work totally fine, but they're just not the same as if it was set up and printed by Hobonichi. I wish Hobonichi made a cousin this side, but they don't. So that's neither here nor there because Sterling Ink does. So it really hasn't been as bad as I was afraid it was, and I was kind of super annoyed about that. So it's worked out. The back, just a couple blank pages really, and then you're done. So it's a good place to maybe keep lists. For the first time in probably, I hate to say it, but 6 months or maybe 5 months, I changed my air filters. They needed it, and it's been hard to remember. And so I just sat down and made myself a sticky note because that's kind of what's working well for me for tasks. And let's see, I did it today, which was May. So the next time to do it is August. Let's go to August 5. And we'll find the sticky note I made today. There we go. Change air filters. I've got it stuck on the day. Now, remember, this is temporary. I do want to try, and I'm just going to kind of say it out loud here because it's kind of in the back of my mind. I'm thinking very strongly about using the Jabun Techo. This is upside down. Here we go. I got a clear cover for it. Using this, which I like in so many ways, using this for June because I just really want to be in it and be like, is this a system that could work for me? Because there's a lot of things about this that I like. So that being said, what's going to happen? So I'm going to abandon this one at the end of May and move into this one at the beginning of June. And so any of the notes that I put in here, moving forward, will need to be transferred to here. And so the things that are in there ahead of time that are on Post-it notes, that makes it really easy to transfer over without having to rewrite it. So that's kind of, I do love my Post-it notes. They can get overwhelming, which is the reason that I'm jumping around here. But they also can be really helpful too. So that's kind of my plan, is to give this, the layout is just, it's a standard vertical layout, but the size, this B6 slim size, I'm just very curious about, because it is kind of halfway between a normal B6 and an N2 vertical. So I just kind of want to see if maybe this is the size that could work for me. But I mean, I might use that and just for June, and then be like, I want to go back to this. I might go back to my N2 vertical. We've got options, people. And if this keeps me from the frustration of my N2 vertical, which was, having to go monthly, weekly, and then daily sections, jumping around, it is kind of nice to just have like 2 sections to check instead of 3. So who knows? But yeah, this will move to the new book if I don't make it to August in here. So that's where we're at. I am very, very, very pleasantly surprised at how well this is working, and how much space I have to decorate with stickers. That's been kind of nice, because I am not the girl that like sets up her planner with stickers. That I just don't have room. I did that even when I was back in my basically B5 Happy Planner Classic size. I felt like I needed every square inch of that space, and I wrote big enough that I did, and I tracked a lot of things in there. And so I didn't feel like I could afford to like throw down stickers where I might need to actually write there, like decorative ones. I mean, I loved the little colored boxes. Those things were amazing. So, I'm more of a get your information in, use the planner, use it. It's for organization and tracking. And then when you have time later on, fill in the blank spots and make it cute. So I feel like this one is slightly cuter. I'm just going to move this because it's distracting me. I think this is slightly cuter than just randomly opening up in here. I don't know. Some days were better structured than others. Some days I had nothing but stickers. I don't know. Either way, the importance about a planner is to be able to use it. And if that means you make it ugly and full of lists and scrawling stuff, like here, this one turned out cute because I stuck in a sticker and I used it to track my to-dos. But I'm not always that on top of things. So, the nice thing, okay, so this one is small and it's thin. It is thinner than than this guy, but that's because it's only 6 months, where this is a whole year. I mean, a whole year, that slim and being an A6, it just is kind of nice. Okay, well, thanks for coming along and listening to me ramble. I hope that any of you that are considering take a note. This one, I believe, do they call it the mini? Yeah, the mini is the one that's the A6 size. This one comes in A5, B6, and A6. I would have gotten the B6, except it does not have, it just has 1 page per month, and it has all the columns on there. And I was like, whoa, that's not what I want. Where the A5 has this 2-column thing. So don't ask me why they had a different layout for a mid-size planner. I mean, it would make sense if this was like this and then the A5 had all of them on the same page. That would make sense because, it's twice as big. But to have the A5 and the A6 the same and then the B6 to be different just kind of annoyed me. So I got the smaller size and it's been working out. So hope this answered any questions you have, made you curious to try and check out other things. and help you as you're planning your year or your future planner that you're going to purchase. Have a great day.